In the high-stakes poker game of Major League Baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies were holding a hand that was missing its ace. But did the dealer just slide them the card that saves the entire season? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We need to have a very serious, very granular conversation about the structural integrity of the Philadelphia Phillies. For weeks, a silent panic has been gripping the Delaware Valley. It wasn't about the lineup, it wasn't about the bullpen, it was about the right arm of Zack Wheeler. When the news dropped that he underwent venous thoracic outlet syndrome surgery, the collective heart rate of the fan base spiked. We know what that surgery means. We know the history. But today, the narrative didn't just shift. It completely flipped on its axis. We have received a critical, game-changing update from Matt Gelb of The Athletic. And it is the kind of news that transforms a rebuilding spring into a championship spring. Let's break down exactly what is happening in Clearwater, because the details are staggering. Wheeler isn't just feeling okay, he is actively throwing from 120 feet. Now, for the casual fan, that might sound like a simple game of catch in the backyard. But for a pitcher recovering from shoulder surgery, a 120-foot long toss is a massive physiological milestone. It is the bridge between rehabilitation and performance. It requires extension, arm speed, and a range of motion that tests the very area that was operated on. And the report: no issues, zero setbacks, no tightness, no lingering nerve pain. Wheeler himself is reportedly excited, a word that carries immense weight coming from a veteran who knows his own body better than anyone. This update suggests a timeline that seemed impossible just a month ago. We are looking at a potential return in late April or early May. But here is the tantalizing part, the part that should have every rival in the NL East sweating. There is a legitimate chance he could accelerate that timeline. If he continues to feel this strong, if the ball continues to come out of his hand with that signature zip, we aren't talking about a mid-season reinforcement. We are talking about the ace returning to the mound before the first month of the season is even in the books. This changes the entire calculus of the National League East race. It takes the pressure off the rest of the rotation, it calms the nerves of the front office, and it sends a clear message to the league. The Phillies aren't just trying to survive April, they are planning to dominate it. To truly appreciate the magnitude of this news, we have to stare into the abyss of what thoracic outlet syndrome actually is, and why Wheeler's progress is nothing short of a medical marvel. We need to contextualize the fear here. Venous thoracic outlet syndrome, VTOS, is the boogeyman of modern pitching. It involves the compression of nerves and blood vessels in the upper chest and neck. Historically, this diagnosis has been a career alterer, and in some tragic cases, a career ender. Think about the pitchers who have battled this: Matt Harvey, Steven Strasburg, Chris Carpenter. The road back is often paved with setbacks, diminished velocity, and a loss of command. The surgery involves removing a rib to relieve pressure. It is invasive, it is traumatic to the body, and the recovery is notoriously unpredictable. This is why the silence from the Phillies camp was so deafening early on. The fear wasn't just that Wheeler would miss April. The fear was that he would never be Zack Wheeler again. That is why this 120-foot session is so much more than a practice routine. It is a declaration of health. By throwing at that distance without issues, Wheeler is proving that the decompression worked, and crucially, that the scar tissue isn't hindering his mechanics. He posted a 2.71 ERA last season, a Cy Young caliber performance. To get back to that level, you need full extension. You need to be able to reach back for 98 mph without a second thought. The fact that he is excited suggests that the mental hurdle, the fear of pain, is already being cleared. Let's look at the historical context of recovery timelines. Most pitchers take months to regain their feel for the baseball after this procedure. Wheeler is seemingly bypassing the awkward phase and moving straight into ramp-up mode. This speaks to his conditioning, his work ethic, and frankly, his biology. He is an anomaly. If he moves to mound work in the next week or so, as the report suggests is possible, he will be effectively simulating game action while other guys are still doing resistance band work. This is the best-case scenario unfolding in real time. It validates the medical staff's approach, and it validates the front office's decision not to panic buy a replacement starter. They trusted the surgeon, they trusted the rehab, and most importantly, they trusted the player. And right now, that trust is paying off in a way that could define the Phillies' 2024 season. However, we must temper this euphoria with a cold, hard look at the tactical reality. The Phillies must navigate a minefield in April without their commander-in-chief. Even with this spectacular news, the reality remains that Zack Wheeler will likely miss opening day. This leaves a massive void at the top of the rotation that cannot be filled by vibes alone. We have to analyze the survival strategy. The burden now falls squarely on the shoulders of Nola. Nola has to be the stopper. He has to be the guy who goes 7 innings every 5th day to save the bullpen. But beyond Nola, the questions get uncomfortable. Can Ranger Suarez step up and pitch like a number 2? Can Taijuan Walker avoid the slow starts that have plagued him in the past? The depth is going to be tested immediately. Let's look at the impact analysis on the bullpen. Without Wheeler eating 6 or 7 innings, the middle relief core is going to be exposed. Guys like Matt Strahm and Jeff Hoffman might be asked to cover more outs than usual in the first 3 weeks. This is dangerous. Overworking a bullpen in April is how you blow games in August. Rob Thompson has to manage these games like it's the playoffs, squeezing every out from his starters to protect the arms for the long haul. And then there is the offense. With Wheeler out, the margin for error shrinks. The lineup, Turner, Harper, Realmuto, Schwarber, needs to score 5 or 6 runs a night to give this depleted rotation a cushion. They cannot afford slumps. They cannot afford to leave runners in scoring position. We also have to consider the future scenarios of a setback. What if Wheeler pushes too hard to get back in April and feels a twinge? What if he compensates for the shoulder and blows out an elbow? The risk-reward ratio here is terrifying. The fans are screaming for him to return, but the medical staff has to be the adult in the room. A return in late April is a luxury. A return in May is a necessity. If they rush him and lose him for the year, the window closes. The Phillies have enough to get by, as the report states, but getting by in the NL East against the Braves and Mets is a dangerous game. If they go 12-15 in April, they dig a hole. If they go 15-12, they survive. The difference between those 2 records might come down to 1 or 2 starts from a replacement pitcher. The team needs to tread water until the shark returns. If they can just stay afloat, Wheeler's return becomes the greatest mid-season acquisition in baseball. So where does this leave us as we count down the days to the first pitch? It leaves us with a renewed sense of hope, but also a profound responsibility to be patient. This update is the fuel that the Philadelphia Phillies needed. It changes the atmosphere in the clubhouse. Knowing that your ace is throwing, that he is healthy, that he is coming, it gives everyone a lift. It makes the hitters want to grind harder. It makes the other pitchers want to hold the line. Zack Wheeler is the engine of this team. When he is right, the Phillies are a World Series contender. When he is out, they are a wild card hopeful. The difference is that stark. The voice of the fan right now is a mix of ecstasy and anxiety. We are ecstatic that the surgery was a success and the rehab is ahead of schedule. But we are anxious because we know how fragile pitching arms are. We know that one bad throw can change everything. But for today, let's focus on the positive. Let's focus on the fact that 120 feet never looked so good. Let's focus on the fact that a 2.71 ERA pitcher is preparing to rejoin the fight. The Phillies have a chance to do something special this year, but they need all hands on deck. Wheeler is proving that he is willing to do whatever it takes to be there. Now, I want to turn this over to you, the die-hard fans. I want your honest assessment of the rotation without Wheeler for those first few weeks. Are you terrified of the depth, or do you trust Nola and Suarez to carry the load? And be honest, would you rush Wheeler back for a big series in April, or would you force him to wait until May to be 100% safe? This is the debate of the spring. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one of them. Smash that like button if this update made your day, and subscribe to the channel because we will be tracking every single step of Wheeler's return. The ace is on his way back. Let's get ready for baseball.